also was forced to learn how to connect with people. I was forced to find commonalities and quickly work my way to the top of the food chain. I remember the first few years that I was forced into this situation. I was at the bottom of the school, and I hated it. And I was like, okay, if this is my life, if this is what I'm going to have to deal with, moving every year, then I better figure this out. So I started kind of watching people and trying things, and over time I got really good. I was a social butterfly. I was all over the place, and that was great. And that was about till I was 23, and then when I was 23, I was diagnosed with skin cancer, and Kim was talking about, you have these things that come up, and do you bounce back? And I didn't right away, because the skin cancer was on my face, and I don't have any pictures to share, but you guys can all come look later. I have a big scar on my face, and for about 8 months, it was all people could see. It was right there. I grew up my beard. I wore sunglasses and a hat all the time. I became a recluse, and I lost all of my social skills. Like, it was night and day. And people were treating me differently, and I was overwhelmed, and I went quite deep into a depression. And then again, I looked around, and I said, okay, if this is my life, just like I did when I was a kid, I was like, if this is going to be my life, I got to figure this out. I got to beat this, because I've been promised a lot more than this. I've been promised amazing social life. I've been promised a successful career. I've been promised a lot of things. I promised them to myself, of course, but so I had to figure something out. So I looked around, and I realized that there were a lot of people out there who, weren't very good looking, who had amazing social lives, and who had been, had issues come up in their life and had bounced back and had amazing social lives. So I started kind of looking around and doing research, and I worked with some people who had this going on, and I started to develop myself again. And then I started to have amazing success with social environments, with women, with everything. And then my face kind of finally healed up after about a year, and I don't want to say I became a superhero, but I suddenly understood how it all worked. It wasn't just I was naturally doing it. I was kind of going in the fly as it was happening. It was, okay, I understand that when that person does that, that happens. I saw all the connections. So at that point, I owned it. And when you own something, it can't be taken away from you. So I never had the fear that I'll lose this again. I never lost, since that, I've never lost the knowledge that I know myself now. So after I had figured this out, I realized that there was a system. I started teaching people. And then I worked with this very successful entrepreneur, and he incubated me in his private equity firm, and we started a business called Social Fluency. And yeah, that's how we get here today. So yeah, again, was it a cross to bear, or was it an amazing opportunity? And just like Kim said, I had the choice to bounce back, and I did. And I have a feeling that's the kind of people that's in this room, so I love that. Okay, cool. So I want to talk a bit about comfort zones. And if I could get some more water up here, that'd be awesome. Got to stay hydrated. So if you think of your comfort zone as a zone on a map, you have your comfort zone in the center, which is where we like to sit. It's very warm and cozy. And then there's a ring around that of mildly uncomfortable, and that's kind of like your buffer zone. And then outside of that is extremely uncomfortable. So what most people do when they're like, okay, I want to get this handled, is they go, okay, I'm going to go from my comfort zone to Paris. And they go way out into extremely uncomfortable, and they freak out, and they don't have a great experience, and they rush back into their comfort zone, and they're positively reinforced because it's nice and warm in there. And that want to stay in your comfort zone is strengthened.